Welcome back to part two of A Dress to Die For. If you haven't seen part one yet, I recommend starting there. But if you have, welcome back. Sully is edging closer to the truth, and in the last scene, he asked Orrin Mercer, the mysterious hat maker, whether the murdered women had ordered hats to go with their dresses. Yes, they did, Mercer stammered. But they changed their minds. They cancelled their orders. So when did you see them? Asked Sully. Oh, gosh, it must have been a couple of months ago. Would you mind showing us your calendar and the hats that they ordered? Asked Sully. Yes, of course. Follow me. And Mercer led them down into the basement. There, the air was acrid and thick, and the smell caught the back of Sully's throat. Like the rest of the shop, it hadn't been updated in many years. The edges of the rooms were piled high with hats and with a central work table. To one side, there appeared to see some antique hat-making equipment. Right, what did you ask me to do? These days, I'm constantly forgetting what I was just about to do or what had just happened. Your calendar and the hats for those women, said Sully. Oh, yes. Mercer reached for a leather-bound book and flicked through the pages. He handed the open book to Sully and pointed to the calendar entry. 3 months ago, just as he had said, Sully noticed an orange-brown stain on Mercer's fingertips. Did they come back after that? Asked Sully. No. One of them just phoned a few weeks ago and said they'd changed their minds and wanted to cancel the order. These are the hats they ordered. Look how beautiful they are. He grabbed the three hats from the side to show them. Sully noticed his hands were trembling whenever he held onto something. Beautiful was not a word Sully would have used to describe the hats. Garish was more apt. Sully examined one of the hats. There was a slight orange colour on the felted areas, and they emitted that same acrid metallic smell that caught his throat earlier. I use traditional methods. You can't beat them. I can see you are admiring my workmanship, said Mercer smugly. Sully didn't know a great deal about hat making, but admiration was the last thing on his mind. Changing the subject, Sully asked, Isn't it strange for somebody to cancel an order for a bespoke hat? No, it happens. I don't take a deposit. Maybe I should. Is there anything else you can tell us about their visit or their call? No, not really. I have to get back to my work now, if that's all. Thank you for your time, said Chief Rawlins. As they left the shop, Sully noticed a woman standing on the opposite side of the street further down, beckoning for them to come. She ushered them into her hallway and then looked into the street to see if somebody was watching. You met Mr. Mercer then? What did he say? Asked the woman. We can't disclose that information, said Chief Rawlings. You know, everyone calls him the Mad Hatter. Something happened to him in the last year. He smells awful and he's always sweating. That's not a crime, the last time I looked, said Sully sarcastically. No, it's not just that. He's gone mad and he's threatened a few people in the village over nothing. I saw those poor women leaving Mrs. Telly's dresses last week. There was a terrible commotion. Mr. Mercer was shouting at them as they left. They couldn't get into their cars fast enough. Did you hear what was said? I could only pick out snippets. Something about you have no taste. Chief Rawlins asked, could you come down to the station and give a statement? No, I don't want to get involved. That's all I know. She opened the door and indicated for them to leave. As they walked back to Chief Rawlins' car, his mobile rang and he put it on speakerphone. It was the forensic lab. Sir, we've tested those women's dresses and the brown stains that appear to be mercury nitrate. Images whirled through Sully's mind like pieces of a jigsaw falling into place. Suddenly, it all made sense. From his chemistry days, he remembered that prior to the early 1900s, mercury nitrate had been used in hat making. It was eventually banned because it was so toxic that it made many hat makers insane, hence the term Mad Hatter. It caused many destructive symptoms, such as deep skin ulcers and tremors, like those that Mercer exhibited. He'd used the word traditional a couple of times and had obviously been using mercury nitrate to make hats for some time, even though it was illegal. Those antiques Sully had seen in Mercer's workshop were not for display, but were his actual tools. The stains on his fingers were from using the mercury nitrate, and somehow they had been transferred to the women's dresses. We have to go back to see Mercer, said Sully. He explained his theory to Rawlins, who called for backup as they walked towards the shop. Back at Mrs. Tilley's dresses, the shop was now closed and the blinds were drawn. They went around the back and luckily the door was unlocked. As they entered, a voice made them jump. They were stupid and ignorant, said my hats were ugly, wouldn't even try them on. The three of them just laughed at my creations. Well, they're not laughing now. I made them see how beautiful my hats were. I visited each one of them and helped them into their gowns and placed my hats on their heads just so, the way they were meant to be seen. The silence when they saw their reflection in the mirror. Beautiful, they said. Sorry, I was wrong, they each whispered. Louder, I said. I can't hear you, but it was too late. Too late. They didn't just insult my hats, they insulted me. So I gave them the ending they deserved, a knife straight through the chest. It was quick, they didn't suffer. Mercer emerged from the shadows, the blade of a knife glinting in his hand. Sully's heart thudded in his chest, but Chief Rawlins stepped forward calmly. Don't be foolish, Mercer. Backup's on the way. You can't kill everyone. Put the knife down. Orrin Mercer, I'm arresting you for the murders of 3 women. Mercer hesitated, then let the blade fall with a clatter. His knees buckled and he sank to the floor, sobbing. They laughed at me. The backup unit arrived, and as Mercer was led away, Sully breathed a sigh of relief and felt a heaviness lift from the depths of his soul. Thank you, Sully. We couldn't have caught him without you, said Chief Rawlins, extending his hand to shake Sully's. You know, Mercer could probably plead insanity. Mercury nitrate is well known to cause madness, and I think everyone would agree that he was definitely deluded. This case has really fired up my old grey matter, said Sully. We could certainly use your help if you feel like working again. We'll see, said Sully as he smiled for the first time in years. And that is the end of the story. So did you guess the killer and the remedy? It was Orrin Mercer, a character shaped by the remedy Mercurius, the sweating, the trembling, the ulceration, the paranoia, the secrecy and delusions all point to a mind in conflict and a body in decay. And Sully, he was based on the remedy Sulphur, the failed, dishevelled academic introspective, isolated, full of big ideas and self-reproach, but ultimately still capable of insight and redemption. These two remedies, sulphur and mercury, met in this story, one seeking truth and the other lost in delusion. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this story, I'd love to hear your thoughts, and feel free to share it with anyone learning homeopathy through story. Let me know in the comments what you think, and watch this space for the next story or the next mind map. Thank you. Bye.